Hello folks, this is Steve AB4L. You can see where I am. Came here to see if I could pick up something. Now, you know, the big news now is all this turbulence with tariffs and trade and all that stuff. But actually, the Dollar Tree gave us a warning almost 2 years ago. And I'll bet the president paid attention to it. Now, most of the stuff that's sold in this store is actually made somewhere in Asia. And not quite 2 years ago, something happened. You walked in, and when you went to the front, instead of charging you $1 per item, and virtually all of the items in the store being $1, except for greeting cards, which were 50 cents a piece, things were $1.25. But they didn't change the name of the store. And then something else happened. In some of the aisles, they'd have a section where the items were more than $1.25, $3, $5, like mops, even though they had been selling certain kinds of mops for $1 and then $1.25. So what was that an indication of? Squeeze, squeeze, cost, squeeze. If they sell an item for $1, do they buy it for $1? They have to pay the taxes on the store, they have to pay the rent on the store, or if they own it, the cost of the mortgage. They have to pay the employees. They have to have enough traffic that when they divide each of those dollars up, there's still some profit. But they own more than just the Dollar Tree, and the other two that they own are basically in bankruptcy. So even at $1.25, it's quite a squeeze. So what was the lesson from that? Now, remember, I'm an idiot. Although I've taken some economics courses, I have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. It says that mercantile model of how they were doing business wasn't working anymore because of some kind of squeeze, cost squeeze. Something changed. So they were a harbinger. They were the early warning. Now what's the president up to with this tariff stuff? I'm going to say what even Dalio won't say directly. Go look at the interviews. They got Dalio. He's a big multi-billion-dollar hedge fund guy, and when you listen to him, he's just jibber-jabbering. He's not saying anything specific. Is it that he doesn't know, or he doesn't want to say it out loud? The president is not saying it out loud, but he's doing it with actions. The amount of money that the United States, in one form or another, has borrowed is beyond what our current economic structure and likely future could possibly pay for. We have borrowed far more than we could ever pay back, even under generous terms, which, based on history, means the United States would collapse, like the Roman Empire did, like Britain almost did, like the Dutch kinda did, like. Why do you think the Japanese went to war? Because they were in an economic situation where it didn't make any sense, and they were going down the drain. I'm talking about the 1930s. So you either can remodel yourself and make a profit and recover, or you can go steal it from everybody else. Take it away from them. That was called the invasion of Manchuria. Yeah, that's right. You know that guy Mifune, the big samurai guy? Do you know that he was born in Manchuria? You think of him as Japanese. He is. The first time he saw Japan was when the war was over, or almost over, and all of the Japanese forces were withdrawing from Manchuria to defend the mainland, the islands. He was an adult. He was a pilot. That was the first time he actually saw Japan. They had a colonial empire in China, and they only killed 10 million people, literally civilians, in order to enforce their stealing. It's okay, Mao killed far more than that. For the same reason. For the same reason. So Trump is saying, let's see what we can do now. Not at some ambiguous by accident time in the future. Let's do it now. So he's shaking everything up and saying what's going on now is not practical. You're all bleeding us. You're taking advantage of us. Why doesn't Dollar Tree have all that stuff made in this country? At one time, everything in that store, except the modern electronics, everything in that store was made in the United States. Some of it was made in my hometown. I can think of items in there that was made in my hometown in the year 1900, around the time my grandparents came from Italy to the United States. So why not now? What's the matter? We can't get enough Mexican cheap labor? What kind of jobs do you think all those immigrants were looking for? What did they work for? Minimum wage? I doubt it. They worked for the kind of wage my grandfather worked for when he came to America, with a letter in his pocket introducing him to somebody in Springfield, Massachusetts. But that grocery store, which was Italian run and knew the people from where my grandfather came from, they said, we don't have room for any more of you, your kind. So we'll send you to Northampton. We got a store, we got somebody who will take you there. And that's how he got started. Whatever bed was available, and somebody who was willing to take him at next to no cost. All right? So the shake-ups, so taking advantage, I don't like using that word. To those who are living the middle-class life, it looks like you're taking advantage of those people. They're trying to get a start. Trump is trying to get America to restart. That's why he's emphasizing, what's it going to take for us to make all that stuff here? And what price are we willing to pay? You didn't complain with a 25% increase 2 years ago in this store. That's because you didn't buy your car insurance here. Your homeowner's insurance. In Southern California, they had a massive fire, and now people can't afford their homeowner's insurance. And the insurance companies want gigantic increases in rates. They have to make a profit. If there's a gigantic fire they didn't predict, future insurees have to pay for it. Did you get that? Now I'm going to tell you something personal. I worked for an internationally known, internationally operating IT company. When I went to work for them in my 50s, an unusual hire, but they wanted my brain. Yes, they wanted my brain. They promised me a pension. Something. A pension. That means that that company would be financing a fund that would be the pension fund. But by the time I retired, which was 11 years later, 12 years later, excuse me, they had switcherooed, and they abrogated their contract with everybody, virtually, about pensions, except those that were already on it. And they said, we're going to give you the cash value of your pension as an annuity. We're going to sell how much we have invested toward your pension to an insurance company. They'll take the risk, and they will pay you, and will tell you how much it is based on your current age versus when you're going to retire, how much they're going to pay you every month until you die. Some of you will die within a year of retiring. Some of you will be 40 years. That's their problem. That's the insurance company's problem. They have actuaries to figure that out. We're negotiating the price. But what was the point of what that internationally known, internationally operating IT company was doing, where they did what Trump is doing? They did what Trump is doing. They changed the rules, one-sided. Did you get that? I thought I had a pension coming to me, however much, and they said, nope, no more. We're changing the rules. Like it or lump it. I'm still collecting my annuity. And the original company that bought the annuity has since sold it to another company. Now, what was that internationally known, internationally operating IT company up to? What were they up to? Why did they do it? It was simple. They saw the company was going to die financially if they didn't take care of their current and future debt obligations. And one way to resolve that is to annihilate an indefinite unknown debt amount called pensions by converting them to annuities and selling them for a fixed price. And that meant that all of their employees, including me, were no more expensive than 1 year at a time. Did you understand that? And with no other obligation than that, they had a greater freedom to hire and fire. And they instituted something known as resource actions, which is part of the vocabulary of America now. What's a resource action? We don't like what's going on in this division of the company. It's not making enough money. We think we have too many people. Oh, that sounds familiar. So what are we going to do? We're going to get rid of them. If we get rid of them, how long will our expense for them cost? The answer? The hit on our unemployment fees to the states, right? And the cost of adding 1 more year to the annuity. That's it. No 20-year obligation that's ambiguous. We cut them off now. And we let them swim and make out on their own. We're trying not to go under ourselves. What's Trump doing? He believes that us going under is in the nearer future rather than the distant future. So he's got to shake the game up completely and see where the chips fall. And we may make it and we may not. So the big news, speculation and news yesterday and today is who is dumping the $1 trillion worth of Treasury bonds. There's far more than that out there. The speculation yesterday was that it was China trying to undermine us. Commie China, not Taiwan. But the more solid, pretentious news today is Japan dumped over $1 trillion, virtually overnight. They're selling them at a loss. What does that mean? They bought them like now I'm going to give you the example in terms of a 1-year treasury. There are 1 years, but the big thing was the 10 years. But I'll give the example in the 1 year because the ones I've heard on the YouTube, the people don't actually explain it. The government needs people to buy a 1-year bond for $1,000, $100. A lot of them. They want to sell $100 denominations. So they open it up for bidding. And I say, I want to bid on it. I'm willing to buy a 1-year obligation for you for $100 for $90. Take it or leave it. And the government says, we're in a real squeeze, I'll sell it to you. So they sell me a debt obligation that comes due in exactly 1 year, and I'm obligated to pay the face value of the $100 bond to whoever owns that certificate and redeems it. I pay out in 1 year $100. Not 110, 100. I sold a $100 face value redemption for $90. At the end of 1 year when they redeem it, they get $100. They made 10% over the year. That's what they're about. That's what it's about. Now eventually what's going on with the world and the bondholders is they're going to hold on to them at the high rates of interest for as long as they believe the United States can bleed out the actual yearly payments, buying them back and swapping them and selling more. But when they get to the point where they don't think the United States will be able to do it and the United States will collapse financially, somewhere in the near future, they're going to cut their losses and they're going to dump all of their treasuries any way they can. They've been making their money on them, and they're going to get out. So they have no strings to the United States. They're on their own ship. They don't have an anchor that will sink them, pull them down. Trump believes that's in the near future, and now Japan believes it is in the near future. I just interpreted why they dumped $1 trillion. They're cutting themselves loose because they think the chaos will not settle out in their favor. The Japanese have done what that internationally owned, internationally operating IT company did with our pensions. Trump is trying to make people take a loss now and hope how much we actually end up owing beyond our means doesn't totally destroy us. And to do that, he has to create worldwide financial insecurity and see how the shuffle deals out. And that's what's going on. Got it? The Dollar Tree was starting to feel that squeeze 2 years ago. There are other Dow Family Dollar and whatever the other one is, they're going under. It's going to happen to everybody. Except people who are sitting on a gold mine. Like down at Reed's Gold Mine. All right? So I've just told you what's going on. Now, I'm an idiot. I'm running my mouth. I have no idea what I'm talking about. But you heard my version of it. And unlike Dalio, the big billionaire, I was highly specific in my scenarios. Go listen to him jibber jabber. he's getting publicity for his newly published book, and he hopes people will flock to him believing that he's a genius, but he's got no idea any better than Japan, China, or Trump, or the Dollar Tree, or me. Steve AB4L, just running his mouth having fun, saying see you at 73.